Lady, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to leave the store. Who the hell are you? Ash. Housewares. Groovy. I'm John Renton with the retro view of Army of Darkness, aka Evil Dead 3, aka Bruce Campbell versus the Army of Darkness, aka the film that, even though it is widely regarded as probably the best of the trilogy, the most memorable, the most quotable, ended up not doing all that well at the box office, all things considered. Even though it cost $13 million and did make a decent amount of money, did make enough to even break its budget. So the planned fourth movie was put on ice, and we didn't get anything until the Evil Dead 2013 soft reboot, or invasive reboot, or possibly some kind of reboot where they decided to just go all the goddamn way in and get that boot all the way up to the goddamn neck. And they didn't insert it down the throat. Anyway, nevertheless, yeah, Army of Darkness. I mean, very quotable, fun. I gotta be honest, though, like, Evil Dead 2 might hold up a little bit better than this one. This one, kind of, there's a lot of stuff right about it as far as the quotes, as far as the fun, and as far as the breezy nature of it. This actually is the shortest of the trilogy by a few minutes. I mean, this movie, once the end credits roll along, it's like, what, 76 minutes when the end credits start rolling? That's really not all that much time. And they even do, again, recaps of how we got there. Apparently, people were just assuming, the filmmakers were just assuming that nobody saw the first one, nobody saw the second one, and by this point, VHS tapes were around enough that you would remember these movies if you saw them. But nevertheless, so yeah, directed and written by Sam Raimi, also written by Ivan Raimi, who helped with Darkman, Spider-Man 3. I'll just blame him for the Tobey Maguire emo dance scene. And Drag Me to Hell, that I said in the Evil Dead retro review I didn't really care for. In fact, I pretty much hated Drag Me to Hell. I understand people that like it, just for me it didn't click. This stars once again Bruce Campbell as Ash, who this time is in medieval times. Fun fact, this was actually supposed to be the plot of the second Evil Dead, but due to, I don't know if it was budgetary constraints, because they did show at the end that he was in medieval times, so they went with that. But it was, who knows what the third one would have been if they had done this for the second one. I do have to say this, though. They wouldn't have made it nearly as good if they did it back in 1987. Needs just a little bit of technological advancement. Embeth Davids, who is beautiful in this, by the way. Actually still looks good now. Marcus Gilbert, Ian Abercrombie, not Finch. There's no Finch in this. No Atticus Finch. No Finch birds. No birds of any kind, seemingly, in this movie. And also Richard Grove. Various other people, including Bridget Fonda. Bridget Fonda was in this. I remember Bridget Fonda had a career. I don't know what happened to Bridget Fonda. In all honesty, I have no idea. Michael Earl Reed and Ted Raimi were in this. Ted Raimi, of course, once again, just playing a makeup-encrusted individual, because that's what Ted Raimi does best. Okay. Actually, the original words were an homage or homenage to the Day the Earth Stood Still 1951 version that I still should retro-review at some point. Not the Keanu Reeves version, even though Keanu wasn't bad. You should let me... Whoa. No, damn it, Keanu. Take 25. So yeah, Ash in his car in medieval times, 1300 AD. And there was not a guy named Joel, not too different from you or me. Okay, enough of that. He has to basically earn the trust of the townspeople, get the Book of the Dead, Necronomicon, and the townsfolk, mainly wise man Ian Abercrombie, says, we can get you back to your time, but you have to say these words exactly. Of course, he doesn't, and an army of the dead is summoned, because why wouldn't it be? It's called Army of Darkness, after all, so there has to be some kind of army in it. So yeah, $13 million budget, $11.5 million gross, and that's unfortunate because it's also known for being a bit controversial with the change ending. Universal Pictures had the ending where he fell asleep but slept too long. And he woke up in a post-apocalyptic world, which was supposed to lead to a fourth movie that was going to be him leading an army of robots, apparently, against more undead, I guess. I don't know how well that would have gone. We probably would have almost gone Critters 4 by that point, and if you've seen Critters 4, nobody really liked Critters 4. It had special effects that were pretty much from about a decade earlier, and that movie came out in 1992. The same year as this, by the way. But test audiences, I guess, didn't care as much for that. And I've seen both endings. I get why they went with Ash versus the Evil Dead, went with the ending where it's post-apocalyptic deal and all that stuff. So I get it. I mean, I get that. And it went with that, I believe. I mean, I've only seen a few episodes of Ash versus Evil Dead, so maybe I got totally off base. The theatrical one that they did, the one when they finally released it, had Ash back in his own time and did the shoot up in the supermarket. So there you go. It's a sign of what America essentially is like anytime you go to the grocery store now, because there's a bunch of nut jobs out there. So nevertheless, I like this, but I can see that Evil Dead 2 probably holds up a little bit better. Army of Darkness, at first it's a lot of fun. It's witty, and then it almost... It's not quite as fun as I remember, and I don't know if that's just because I held it in such high regard before, because it's still good, but as I said in my previous two reviews of The Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, I don't exactly have a high opinion of the Evil Dead franchise. It's good at its best, and some parts of it are kind of bad. So anyway, this is my boomstick, because he's got the shotgun and all that. They had, again, a recap of the first two movies and an 81-minute runtime. And this was the first, 5 minutes of it. They recapped the first one, the second one, him being sucked into the portal, and Embeth Davids, who still, again, gorgeous in this, in my opinion. He then when he's kidnapped along with Duke Henry the Red, played by Michael Grove, or Richard Grove, that is, not Michael Earl Reed. Names are getting a little bit jumbled up here, because even though I just watched it, sorry, some of these names blend together. I'm this Lord of the Northland. Well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants. And then one guy tries to run away, and then we'll see you at the crossbow, so you won't be lonely. We'll see you at the crossbow, so you won't be lonely. Anyone gets that reference, I love you guys. Anyone does get that reference, I'm sorry for butchering that song, except I'm not. So they go into the pit. There were two creatures in there. Apparently there was only supposed to be one, but another one was added because, I guess, people they thought it was a good thing, and it was. I like the martial arts flipping that one of the creatures was doing for no goddamn reason. The Deadites, as it were. Ash is fed up and just, it's like I want to go back to my own time. And then the main hero, or the main Lord guy, so to speak, not Lord Arthur, says sword boy, and then pulls out the sword or whatever and kicks the guy over. And then Ash shoots it with a shotgun. You primitive screwheads, this is my boomstick. And, talking about the price of it. Shop smart, shop S-smart. You got that? And then, of course, this old lady shows up when Ash is feasting on some food, and some women, seemingly. This Deadite shows up. We shall feast upon your souls. Yo, she-bitch, let's go. And just a lot of fun. He ends up getting a hand because he chopped off his hand. The second one, and he had a chainsaw on that. And Wise Man believes that he's he's going to be the chosen one and everything. So, blacksmith, that I swear, the guy playing the blacksmith, Timothy something, I didn't write his name down. He looks like he was a wrestler. I don't know where he was a wrestler, but he looks like he was. And he makes him something, off of a piece of armor, and some metal hand and everything. Groovy. And just having a whole bunch of fun with that. He goes off to find the Necronomicon. The evil is pursuing him. Then we get, he breaks a mirror. We get some mini ashes that basically go all Willow and Gulliver's Travels on him. That's really hard to say for some reason. One ends up climbing into his stomach, and then he pours a bunch of hot water down, and then, but then that manifests into an eye on the shoulder and then a double, and he ends up having a body double. Bad Ash and Good Ash. And then Bad Ash gets shot, because good or bad, I'm the guy with the gun. And then he buries him. And then it turns out that Bad Ash actually comes back once he reads from the book. After he has one, nobody said anything about 3 books. Gets sucked down to one, has his chin more prominent, does this. Whoa, wrong book. And then another one that flies at him and everything and does this and this and this and that. Does all that. And then it's the 3rd book and he sort of says the words except not. So that raises the army of the undead. And there we go. And then we get that evil villain from that one shooting game that's name has escaped me right now. Something star in it. Beware, I live. And then we get all the undead stuff, stop motion. He has to basically help them fight back against this, invading force by Bad Ash and everybody. Bad Ash gets Sheila on his side by possessing her. And they have to call for help from Duke Henry the Red and his army that eventually arrive. Apparently they must have very good carrier pigeons back then, because it should have taken about a week for them to show up. Apparently they're just over the goddamn hill. But nevertheless, after this great battle with explosives and gunpowder stuff and Bad Ash, like, seeing all the soldiers blow up, oh, ooh. Then, during the build-up for the battle, Ash had some tank thing with a propeller on it built so he could chop things up, but then saw Sheila there and crashed, and then Bad Sheila tried to attack him, and then he threw her off, and then he was having a double sword battle with Bad Ash and another soldier, and people are getting stabbed and killed and everything, and then more catapult explosives, and Bad Ash gets a hold of the Necronomicon Eye of the book, and then he says, you're going for a ride. Does this, he chops off the hand with the book, and then sends him for a ride, and explodes in the air and everything, and that's all it. And everything's fine. The kingdoms unite. They are as one until Ash leaves, and then they go into bloodthirsty massacres on each other again. Drink this, go to the cave, recite the words exactly, and you will be fine. We don't go with the apocalyptic ending. We go with the ending where he's back in S-Mart, working, and what's your name? Ash. Housewares. And then jumps on the cart, gets the gun, boom, 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 does all that and everything, and I believe kisses Bridget Fonda. No, wait, was that Bridget? Was that Bridget Fonda? I don't know if that was Bridget Fonda. No, that wasn't Bridget Fonda. That was, I don't remember who that was. It just, the pretty redhead there, and that was it. And there you go. That's pretty much the end. That's Army of Darkness right there. But unfortunately, aforementioned box office performance and all that led to it being put on ice. Now, the only thing left, I'm not doing Ash versus the Evil Dead. I don't have time to do a 30-episode run on a show that I wasn't particularly that interested in. So it's 2013's Evil Dead and then Evil Dead Rise. Mommy's with the maggots now. Anyway, agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.